I was stocking shelves at the Target in Naperville, Illinois when my son called. It was 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, middle of my shift, and Ryan never called during the day unless something was wrong. "Dad, we need to talk. Can you come by the house after work?" "What's going on? Is everything okay with the kids?" "Everyone's fine. Just come by around 6. It's important." He hung up before I could ask more questions. My name is William Parker. I'm 54 years old. 3 years ago, I was a regional sales manager for a manufacturing company, making $95,000 a year, living comfortably in a 4-bedroom house in Aurora. Today, I work at Target for $16 an hour, live in a studio apartment in Joliet, and drive a 2004 Chevy Malibu with a cracked windshield. The change started when my wife, Catherine, died. Ovarian cancer, same as her mother. She fought for 18 months, did everything the doctor suggested, but it wasn't enough. She died on a Saturday morning in October 2021, holding my hand, telling me she loved me. We'd been married 28 years, met at Northwestern in 1993, got married right after graduation. She was a teacher, loved kids, loved learning. We had one child, Ryan, born in 1997. Tried for more, but it didn't happen. Catherine poured all that maternal energy into Ryan and her students. She taught 3rd grade for 22 years at the same elementary school in Aurora. The kids adored her. Parents requested her class specifically. She won Teacher of the Year twice. The cancer treatments destroyed us financially. Even with insurance, the co-pays, the experimental treatments, the trips to specialists in Chicago and Indianapolis, it added up. We went through our savings, maxed out credit cards, took out a second mortgage. Catherine died owing $180,000 in medical debt. I tried to keep working, tried to hold it together, but the grief was suffocating. I couldn't focus, couldn't make sales calls, couldn't pretend everything was fine. My boss pulled me aside twice asking if I needed time off. I said no. I needed to work, needed to pay bills, needed something to distract me from the empty house. 6 months after Catherine died, my company downsized. I was 51, expensive, and clearly struggling. They let me go with a small severance package and a handshake that felt like pity. I couldn't find another job in sales. Sent out hundreds of resumes, got maybe 5 interviews, no offers. Companies wanted someone younger, someone without baggage, someone who could smile and close deals and not look like their world had ended. I burned through the severance in 4 months. The bank foreclosed on the house in Aurora. I moved into a cheap apartment in Joliet, an hour commute from everything I knew. Applied everywhere, finally got hired at Target. It was humiliating, going from a manager with an office and business cards to a retail employee with a name tag and a red polo shirt, but it paid the bills, barely. Ryan tried to help at first. He was 25, married to a woman named Melissa, working as an IT consultant, making decent money. They had 2 kids, Emma, who was 3, and Jack, who was 1. They lived in a nice house in Naperville that Ryan's in-laws had helped them buy. "Dad, come stay with us," Ryan said after I lost the house. "We have the space. You can save money, get back on your feet." But Melissa shut that down fast. "Ryan, we have 2 small children. We can't have your father living here indefinitely. He needs to figure out his own situation." She said it right in front of me, like I wasn't there, like I was a problem to be managed, not her husband's father who'd just lost everything. So I moved to Joliet, took the Target job, and saw my son and grandchildren maybe once a month. Always at their house, never for long, always with Melissa hovering like she was timing my visit. I'd bring small gifts for the kids, toys from the clearance section at work. Emma would hug me tight. Jack was too young to remember me between visits. Before Catherine died, she'd given me something, her wedding ring. A simple gold band with a 1-carat diamond, nothing extravagant, but beautiful. It had been her grandmother's ring, passed down through 3 generations. Catherine's great-grandmother wore it in 1920.
Her grandmother wore it through the Depression and World War II. Catherine's mother wore it for 45 years before passing it to Catherine. "William, promise me something," she said, a week before she died. Her voice was weak, her hand cold in mine. "Keep this ring safe. When Emma grows up, when she gets married, give it to her. It should stay in the family." I promised. Kept that ring in a small box in my apartment, the only valuable thing I owned. Sometimes I'd take it out, hold it up to the light, watch it sparkle. I'd remember Catherine wearing it, remember our wedding day, remember everything we'd built together. Those moments were painful and precious at the same time. Last month, I brought it to Ryan's house. Emma was turning 4, and they were having a birthday party. Family, friends, kids running around the backyard. I pulled Ryan aside in the kitchen while Melissa was outside with the guests. "I want to show you something." I took out the box, opened it carefully. The ring sparkled under the kitchen lights, just as beautiful as the day Catherine first wore it. "Dad, is that Mom's ring?" "Her grandmother's ring. Catherine wanted Emma to have it someday, when she's old enough, when she gets married. I thought maybe you should hold on to it. Keep it safe until then. My apartment isn't exactly secure." "I'll keep it safe, I promise." Melissa walked into the kitchen then, wiping frosting off her hands. "What's that?" "Mom's wedding ring," Ryan said. "Dad wants us to hold on to it for Emma." Melissa took the box from Ryan's hands without asking, examined the ring closely. Something flickered in her eyes that I didn't like. A calculation, an assessment. "This is worth a lot of money." "It's not for sale," I said, quickly, more sharply than I intended. "It's for Emma, for when she's grown." "Of course," Melissa said, but she was still staring at the ring like she was adding up numbers in her head. "We'll keep it very safe." I should have taken it back right then. Should have trusted my instincts, that cold feeling in my gut that told me this was a mistake. But I wanted to believe my son would protect it, would honor Catherine's wish. I wanted to believe that some things were still sacred. That was 6 weeks ago. Now Ryan was calling, asking me to come by, saying it was important, and I knew even before I drove to Naperville that something terribly had gone wrong. I finished my shift, clocked out, drove to Naperville in the evening traffic, pulled up to Ryan's house at 6. He was waiting on the front porch, and his face told me everything I needed to know. He looked sick, pale, like he hadn't slept. "Dad, let's take a walk." We walked around the block in silence. The neighborhood was beautiful, manicured lawns, expensive cars and driveways, so different from my cramped apartment in Joliet. Finally, Ryan stopped under a streetlight. His hands were shaking. "Dad, the ring is gone." My stomach dropped. The world tilted. "What do you mean, gone?" "Melissa sold it 2 weeks ago. I just found out today when I asked where it was." "She sold it, Ryan? That ring was for Emma. Your mother specifically wanted—" I know what Mom wanted, but Melissa said we needed the money. Her car needed repairs, we had some credit card debt. She took the ring to a jeweler downtown, sold it for $4,200. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process what I was hearing. "You let her sell your mother's ring?" "I didn't know until today. She did it while I was traveling for work last week. Told the jeweler it was her ring, that I'd given her permission. I came home yesterday and asked where the ring was because I wanted to see it, make sure it was secure. That's when she told me she'd handled our financial situation." "Handled it? Ryan, that ring was irreplaceable. It was your mother's dying wish that Emma have it. It was 4 generations of family history." I know, Dad. I'm so sorry. I confronted Melissa and we had a huge fight, the worst fight we've ever had. She says the money went to bills, but I've been through our accounts. I can't even find half of it. I think she spent it on herself. Where did it go?
I don't know. New clothes, probably. Spa treatments. There are charges I can't explain. But Dad, the ring is gone. I can't get it back. The jeweler already sold it to someone else 3 days after Melissa brought it in. I sat down on the curb, feeling like I might throw up. Catherine's ring, her grandmother's ring, 4 generations of love and marriage and family. The only thing left of our marriage besides memories and photographs, sold by Melissa for car repairs and credit card debt and spa treatments. "What are you going to do?" I asked. "I don't know. Melissa says I'm overreacting, that it was just a ring, that Emma won't even remember not having it. She says we can buy Emma a new ring someday, a better one. But Dad, I'm so sorry. I should have kept it somewhere safer. I should have protected it better. I should have known." "You should have married someone better," I said before I could stop myself. Ryan looked at me, and I saw tears streaming down his face. Yeah, maybe I should have. I drove back to Joliet that night feeling hollow, like someone had scooped out my insides and left nothing but empty space. Called the jeweler the next day, explained the situation. He was sympathetic but firm. "Sir, your daughter-in-law presented valid ID, claimed the ring was hers, and we paid fair market value. The ring was sold to another customer 2 days later. I can't help you." "Can you at least tell me who bought it?" "I can't disclose that information. Privacy laws. I'm sorry." Dead end. I confronted Melissa myself the next weekend. Ryan was at work, the kids were napping upstairs. I knocked on the door, and she answered in yoga pants and an expensive-looking cashmere sweater I didn't remember seeing before. New, probably. Bought with Catherine's ring. "William, what are you doing here?" "You sold Catherine's ring." "Ryan told you about that. Look, it was necessary. We had bills." "Don't lie to me, Melissa. You wanted the money. You wanted it for yourself. You took something that meant everything to my family and sold it like it was nothing." "It was just a ring, William. You're being dramatic. It's a piece of jewelry. It doesn't have feelings." "It was my wife's ring, her grandmother's ring. She asked me with her dying breath to save it for Emma, and you sold it for car repairs." "Emma will never know the difference. She's 4 years old. And honestly, William, you should be grateful we took it off your hands. What if you'd lost it? What if someone had broken into your crappy apartment and stolen it? At least this way we got something for it." "You're unbelievable." "No, you're unbelievable. You show up here acting like we owe you something, like we're supposed to take care of you. Ryan and I have our own lives, our own problems. We can't be responsible for your sentimental attachments to the past." "That ring was for your daughter, Melissa. And when Emma gets married, we'll buy her a ring, a new one, a better one, bigger diamond, modern setting, better than some old hand-me-down from dead women she never met." I left before I said something I'd regret, before I did something I'd regret. Drove back to Joliet, sat in my apartment, and stared at the empty box that used to hold Catherine's ring. Cried for the first time since her funeral. That's when I decided to do something I'd been putting off for 3 years, something I'd been too embarrassed, too proud, too afraid to do. See, when Catherine was sick, when we were desperate for money, I'd done something I'd never told anyone except Catherine. I'd designed something, a small software program really, just a script I'd written to help me manage my sales contacts more efficiently. It was simple, elegant, and it worked better than any of the expensive CRM software my company used. I could track leads, schedule follow-ups, analyze patterns. It saved me hours every week. A colleague had seen it running on my computer, asked if he could use it. Then another colleague, then someone from another company at a conference. Within 6 months, 50 people were using my little program, passing it around like samizdat. One of them was a venture capitalist who reached out with an offer. "Mr. Parker, I'd like to buy this software from you, build it into a full platform. I'll give you $80,000 for the rights, plus 5% royalties if we commercialize it successfully." This was in 2019, before Catherine got sick. I took the deal without much thought, used the $80,000 to pay for experimental treatments insurance wouldn't cover, forgot about the royalties. The VC sent statements quarterly to an old email address I barely used anymore, an account I'd set up for the business deal and then forgotten.
I logged into that email account for the first time in forever, found statements going back 3 years, unopened. Opened the most recent one with shaking hands. Total royalties accumulated $680,000. I stared at that number for an hour. $680,000 sitting in an account I'd forgotten existed. Money that could have saved my house, could have prevented the bankruptcy, could have let me keep some dignity. Money that could have changed everything. But more importantly, money that Melissa didn't know about. Money that could fix this. I called the jeweler back. I want to hire you to find that ring. I'll pay $10,000 if you can track down who bought it and convince them to sell it back to me. Sir, I don't usually do that kind of thing. $10,000, cash, plus I'll cover whatever it costs to buy the ring back. Silence. Then, let me see what I can do. 3 weeks later, he called me back. Mr. Parker, I found the buyer. Took some convincing, but they're willing to sell it back to you for $6,000. They know it's special to you. They're being decent about it. I paid the $6,000 plus the jeweler's $10,000 fee. Got the ring back 2 days later. Held it in my hands and felt Catherine's presence for the first time since she died. Felt like she was there, approving, loving me. Then I called a lawyer, set up a trust specifically for Emma, put $200,000 into it with instructions that she'd receive the principal when she turned 25. The ring would be held by the trust administrator until Emma got married, at which point it would be given to her along with a letter from me explaining its history, explaining the women who wore it, explaining how much her grandmother loved her. Melissa and Ryan couldn't touch it. The trust was ironclad, set up by expensive lawyers who knew what they were doing. I didn't tell Ryan about the money, didn't tell anyone, just kept working at Target, kept living in my studio apartment, kept driving my old Malibu with its cracked windshield. But I stopped visiting Ryan's house, stopped accepting invitations to birthday parties and holidays. When Ryan called asking why, I was honest. Your wife sold your mother's ring. She took something irreplaceable and treated it like garage sale junk. I can't forgive that, and I can't sit at her table pretending everything's fine. Dad, please, the kids miss you. Then bring the kids to visit me, without Melissa. Ryan started doing that. Every other Saturday, he'd drive Emma and Jack to Joliet, we'd go to the park or get ice cream, spend a few hours together. Melissa never came. I preferred it that way. The kids were relaxed, happy, unburdened by their mother's judgment. A year passed. Then Ryan called with news. Dad, Melissa and I are getting divorced. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not. You were right about her. After the ring thing, I started paying attention, found out she'd been hiding money, making purchases she'd lied about, running up debt I didn't know about. She's been living beyond our means for years. We're separating. I'm filing for full custody of the kids. Good. Those kids deserve better. And Dad, about the ring, I know it's gone, but I want you to know I'll never forgive myself for letting that happen. I failed Mom. I failed you. I failed Emma. Ryan, the ring isn't gone. Silence. What? I got it back. Spent $16,000 tracking it down and buying it back. It's in a trust for Emma now. When she gets married, she'll get her great-great-grandmother's ring, just like your mother wanted. Dad, how did you afford that? You're working at Target. I have some money I'd forgotten about. Royalties from something I designed years ago. Not a fortune, but enough. How much is enough?
Enough that I don't need to worry. Enough that I set up a trust for Emma with $200,000 in it. Enough that I can stop working at Target when I'm ready. Another silence. Dad, have you been struggling this whole time when you had money? Yes and no. I forgot I had it. Got so caught up in grief and surviving that I didn't think to check. Found it after Melissa sold the ring. Decided to use it to fix what she broke. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed to see who you'd become. Needed to see if you'd stand up to Melissa or if you'd let her run your life. You're standing up now. I'm proud of you for that. The divorce took 8 months. Ryan got primary custody, Melissa got visitation rights and child support. She fought for more money, claiming Ryan was hiding assets, but her lawyer couldn't find anything because Ryan wasn't hiding anything. I was the one with money, and it wasn't marital property. Had nothing to do with their marriage. Last month, Ryan moved into a smaller house, closer to Joliet. More affordable, closer to me. The kids come over every weekend now. Emma is 7, smart and curious, asks questions about her grandmother she never met. What was she like? What did she teach? Did she love me? I tell her stories about Catherine, show her pictures, tell her about the ring she'll get someday when she's ready. Emma doesn't fully understand yet, but she will. She'll understand what it means to keep a promise, to honor family, to value things that matter. I still work at Target, 3 days a week now, not full-time. I like the routine, like staying active, like talking to customers. But I could quit tomorrow if I wanted. The royalties are still coming in, about $180,000 a year now. Sales Stream got acquired by a larger company, and my royalty rate actually increased as part of the deal. I have more money than I need. Invested most of it conservatively, live off the returns. Bought a small house in Joliet last month. Not enough that I don't need to worry. Enough that I set up a trust for Emma with $200,000 in it. Enough that I can stop working at Target when I'm ready. Another silence. Dad, have you been struggling this whole time when you had money? Yes and no. I forgot I had it. Got so caught up in grief and surviving that I didn't think to check. Found it after Melissa sold the ring. Decided to use it to fix what she broke. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed to see who you'd become. Needed to see if you'd stand up to Melissa or if you'd let her run your life. You're standing up now. I'm proud of you for that. The divorce took 8 months. Ryan got primary custody, Melissa got visitation rights and child support. She fought for more money, claiming Ryan was hiding assets, but her lawyer couldn't find anything because Ryan wasn't hiding anything. I was the one with money, and it wasn't marital property. Had nothing to do with their marriage. Last month, Ryan moved into a smaller house, closer to Joliet. More affordable, closer to me. The kids come over every weekend now. Emma is 7, smart and curious, asks questions about her grandmother she never met. What was she like? What did she teach? Did she love me? I tell her stories about Catherine, show her pictures, tell her about the ring she'll get someday when she's ready. Emma doesn't fully understand yet, but she will. She'll understand what it means to keep a promise, to honor family, to value things that matter. I still work at Target, 3 days a week now, not full-time. I like the routine, like staying active, like talking to customers. But I could quit tomorrow if I wanted. The royalties are still coming in, about $180,000 a year now. Sales Stream got acquired by a larger company, and my royalty rate actually increased as part of the deal. I have more money than I need. Invested most of it conservatively, live off the returns. Bought a small house in Joliet last month. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. Paid cash. Has a yard for the kids. And I still have Catherine's ring, locked in a safe deposit box at the bank, waiting for Emma to grow up and fall in love and build a life worth living. Melissa tried to reach out last year, sent me a Facebook message saying she'd made mistakes, that she'd been under stress, that she hoped we could reconcile for the kids' sake. I blocked her. Some things don't deserve forgiveness. Ryan asked me once why I'd let myself struggle when I had money. Dad, you could have made your life so much easier. Why didn't you just access that account when you needed it? Because I needed to lose everything to understand what really mattered. I needed to work at Target, live in a studio apartment, drive a car with a cracked windshield. It reminded me every single day that money isn't what makes you rich. Family is. Love is. Keeping promises to the people who matter most. You kept Mom's promise. Yes,
and I always will. Emma will get that ring someday. She'll know it came from her great-great-grandmother, through her grandmother, protected by her grandfather, saved from being lost forever. She'll know its value isn't in the diamond or the gold, but in the love and sacrifice it represents. And she'll never know her grandmother Catherine, but she'll wear her ring, carry her name, inherit her strength. And that's a kind of immortality. Some promises are worth keeping no matter what they cost. Some things are worth more than money, more than comfort, more than pride. Catherine knew that. And now, finally, so do I.